I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Let me show you.
I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would did something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran. But, I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country, but now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump, not, the guy out there working in the trenches trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. It goes against everything I expected when, I voted for him.
So you're not satisfied with what you see?
No. And it doesn't even have to do with anything about me getting fired. I mean, if I had gotten fired as part of the, government, cutting government spending, I would have been fine with that. I can accept that. But he's not delivering on anything he said he was going to do. So what's your real game plan? It doesn't make sense to me.
There are some things that he promised to do that he has put in place. I mean, there are executive orders that he's done, that he said that he was going to do. You don't feel like he's lived up to those promises?
I mean, where are the results? I mean, seriously, prices are still going up. We're now in the middle of a tariff war with a bunch of countries that used to be our steadfast allies. I mean, how do you make an enemy of Canada? They're right next to us, and they've been one of our premier allies and commerce partners for, seriously, centuries now?
And he did say that he was going to put tariffs in place. Did you just not think that they would be implemented in this particular way?
I didn't think they were going to be put in play in a juvenile way. I mean, where was the attempt to actually talk to the heads of these other countries like, hey, I feel you have unfair tariffs against our products. I'd like to talk about it first. And if we can't work out some kind of resolution, then I feel to protect our people, we need to implement this kind of tariff. There was no attempt at even talking to the other countries.
He thought that the policies that Donald Trump implemented wouldn't affect him. He was all for it because the way Donald Trump presented the things that he was going to do, they were going to hurt other people. And he was all for that. He was all for that. But now, all that Donald Trump said he was going to do, that he's been able to do, it affects them. Federal employee lost his job. Tariffs affecting him. Prices still going.
Hello, Safam. How you doing? I'm hoping that you're doing super great from wherever you're watching us from. As you know, I'm your presenter and your host, Eugene Debunking Stories, and I'm hoping that you are doing fine. Now, this might seem so much like a deja vu because we've been having a couple of white folks getting out there trying to complain about all these things. But at the end of the day, we still have a task as black people. Let's not forget our cause. The cause of black people in this stance is to keep quiet, just look at things the way they unravel, and make the right decision. Today, as you can see, we are seeing large number of white people getting out complaining about the cost of living, getting out and ranting about life generally, and the lies that Mr. Donald Trump himself lied to the citizens of America, especially the MAGA team, the Make America Great Again. While black folks on the critical side, when was America great for black people? That's the question that was never answered. Because remember, when we talk about the American history, we can never fail to talk about the black history. The black history is the American history. And now, when we say that America is great, we ask a question: when was America great for black folks? Now, since black people asked, when was America great for black folks, they didn't answer, or they just decided to leave it. But they didn't know that it's gonna get nasty for them until they elected and he went and sat on that chair. Things started getting worse for majority of white people who voted Mr. Donald Trump. Why am I saying white people? I know we have black folks that who also voted for Mr. Donald Trump, is okay, but when we try to look at the intensity or the frequency of white folks and black folks who voted for Mr. Donald Trump, we get to have large number of white folks who voted for Mr. Donald Trump. And now, even when you try to look at the stats out there, people are complaining about all these stats. You get to realize that they are white folks. So that being said, who lied to who? And one thing about the elites is that they will never hear you because you look like them. At the end of the day, the only asset or the only commodity that they understand is profit. They'll sell you to get the profit. And America is being sold in front of its own citizens. Everyone is seeing America being sold. Everyone is complaining about all this. And in this interview, you can see this man is so agitated. The agony in his voice, the betrayal, the disappointment that he's having is really out of hands. And I want to switch this video, and then I'll be back. We're going to be sharing our thoughts in regards to this. For those who are watching us for the first time, I'll ask you to subscribe to the channel, join our membership, and really get so we can offer you. I'm your host and presenter, Debunking Stories. So let's watch the video. I'll be back.
Look, Donald Trump said prices were going to come down on day one. They're still going up. That's affecting him. Donald Trump presented all of this harm as if it was going to affect other people, and they were all for it. So when they get up on camera, making posts, talking about their vote, they regret their vote for Donald Trump, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I did vote for Trump, and now I will deal with the aftermath of the tariffs. I compared 2024 first quarter to 2025 first quarter. I am down 70%.
Oh, Matthew, you might lose your business? Well, while this is stupendous news, I feel like we can do more. Does anyone have a tutorial on how we can get him down 100% or like... I love when bad things happen to bad people. My only gripe is that it doesn't happen enough, which is clear by the fact that J-Lo is still running around hooting and hollering. Nevertheless, I'll take what I can get. And this right here, this makes me incredibly happy because you are getting exactly what you voted for. Y'all were so happy to vote against equality that y'all forgot to read the fine print, because this is literally the transitive property of equality. Y'all be talking about something, oh, I'm voting for Trump because he's a businessman. He's gonna run America like a business. He's literally filed for bankruptcy at least 6 times, including a casino. So if he has destroyed several businesses and he's gonna run America like a business, then that means... yeah. Mind you, the competent, educated, qualified black woman had a plan to help your small business, but all you could see was that she was a black woman. That's y'all's problem, though, is that you're so filled with hate that you have no room for logic or common sense. Either that or you're too busy kissing your cousin to put 2 and 2 together. Whatever the case may be, I'm going to hold your hand with a napkin in between when I say this. I hope you continue to get everything you voted for. Hope this helps. Peace and love. Talk to you later.
Mr. Trump, President, I was called a deployable back in 2016 when I voted for you. And I stood behind you, President Trump. You did great things for the 4 years that you was president. And then you rerun in 2020. You didn't win. It wasn't my fault, Mr. President. I voted for you. And then I voted for you again. I know you only been in for about 3 or 4 months. But Mr. President, you said, promises made, promises kept. Well, Mr. President, I'm hurting right now. I just draw a small Social Security check, not much money. But now gas has done went from $2.53 a gallon to almost $3, Mr. President. You need to help us keep your promise. I'll let you see what gas prices is if you can see it up there. Yeah, almost $3 a gallon, Mr. President. I cannot afford $3 a gallon for gas. I still got faith in you. You need to help us keep your promise.
You know, when I first watched this video, I really was thinking about giving you empathy and sympathy for what you're going through. Then I decided not to. I'm going to tell you why. Because you worshiped him. It's as simple as that. I offer you no sympathy whatsoever because you worshiped a politician. When Donald Trump rolled down that escalator in 2015, he entered the political arena, which made him a politician. I do not care what other crap he said on the stages. He became a politician. And I do not ever worship politicians. I don't wear their merch on days when they're not running for election. I don't put tattoos of them on my body. I do not call them daddy. I don't walk around with fictional pictures of them. I don't do any of that. They are my employees. And I do not wear an employee of the month hat like you're doing right now. And at the end of your video, you say you still have faith in him. And that part is where you lost me. You lost me to begin with. But at that point, empathy and sympathy went out the window. And they got shredded by a riding lawnmower. You get none. You asked for this. You did. By believing the lies, the disinformation, and the misinformation by a politician that you worshiped like he was a god. And because of this, you will suffer. And I will not feel bad for it. At all. I do not in any way, shape, form, or fashion shed one single solitary tear for anyone that fell for that and is still falling for it. When he was out talking about Haitians eating dogs and cats, you cheered. When he said that not cheating on his taxes made him a good businessman, you cheered. When he told you that vote for me and you'll never have to vote for again, you did. You'll never have to vote again, you did. You knew what that man was capable of, but for some reason, you thought he was somebody that meant everything that he said. He didn't. Had any of you Trump supporters who are now currently suffering, whether it's the tariffs, the cutting in Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare, or what have you, Had any of you listened to these small business owners who sued that man in New York City, you wouldn't have voted for him in the first place. He fed you a line of shit and you believed him. And now here you are making TikTok videos about how much harder your life is than it was before he rolled down that escalator. You wanted so desperately to believe that this man cared about you, and he didn't. No politician truly cares about you, but that man hasn't cared about anybody other than himself since long before he rolled down that escalator. You should have known. But it was okay, because Donald Trump gave you permission to be your absolute worst self, and you kept electing him. A man that broke the law is now telling people about law and order. A man who has never met a contract or a debt that he owes that he could not sue his way out of is now sitting at the levers of power in the executive branch, cutting things that you need. You could have been smarter, but you were not. For whatever reason, you thought the idea of a country that best looked like it looks right now was something you could not abide by. I could go to the usual isms, but why? You know why you did it. There is no need for me to rehash your sins. But you believed him. How many Trump shirts do you have? How many Trump hats do you own? How many bumper stickers with "Make America Great Again" do you have? I'm pretty sure just sitting in that truck right now while you're trying to bitch, moan, and complain about gas, I guarantee you it's probably covered in Trump stickers. No politician in the history of American politics has lied as much as this man has, fulfilled none of the things he promised, and yet still has supporters acting as though he is God. So no, sir. In no way, shape, form, or fashion do I feel bad for you. I don't. I wish you nothing but what you asked for, nothing but what you voted for 3 times. But I want you to remember something. You could have done better, but you didn't. Whatever made you pull the lever for that man 3 times, you will now reap every single moment of it. We are a little over 100 days, and he has already made your life 10 times worse, and you're still begging him to fulfill promises he had no intention on fulfilling in the first place. I wish you good luck in the recession to come.
You voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would do something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran.
Pray tell, what exactly were the plans that he had said he was going to put in place that had you so excited that he was going to take care of veterans? What was the indication he gave you from his first presidency? Particularly when in 2017, he froze federal agencies, which affected the VA for 79 days. What was the reason? To reduce government agencies through attrition, to make the government leaner and more efficient. That's it. No plan. Literally, remove workers and do not replace. Exactly how does that get you your benefits when there's no one there to help you? Not to mention his privatization push, which basically made VA care lower quality, fragmented, and weaker overall. Trump actually downplayed the severity of combat troops' TBIs, traumatic brain injuries that they suffered from, calling them headaches. And finally, something that you guys seem to be totally blind towards accepting is him calling fallen soldiers suckers and losers to include prisoners of war like Senator John McCain. May he rest. Why do you think this man gives a fuck about you as a veteran? He has given no indication, in fact, the opposite, that he cares about veterans or doing anything for them.
I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country, but now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump, not...
Where have you been?
You know, the guy out there working in the trenches, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. You know, it goes against everything I expected when, you know, I voted for him.
So you're not satisfied with what you see?
No. And it doesn't even have to do with anything about me getting fired. I mean, if I had gotten fired as part of the, you know, government, cutting government spending, I would have been fine with that. I can accept that.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, my little Pinocchio.
But he's not delivering on anything he said he was going to do.
What policies? Tell us. What specific policies were you so excited about? Because I don't remember a damn one that he proposed that made any fucking sense. You're not off the hook.
So what's your real game plan? You know, it doesn't make sense to me.
There are some things that he promised to do that he has put in place. I mean, there are executive orders that he's done, that he said that he was going to do. You don't feel like he's lived up to those promises?
I mean, where are the results? I mean, seriously, prices are still going up.
I'm going to say this once more because people don't seem to understand. Number one, the president is not the single biggest factor that affects global and national prices. There are other factors. That is just one. Secondly, your inability to understand why prices go up and down goes to show that you don't fucking get why Donald Trump is terrible when it comes to the economy. You know, he's terrible when it comes to everything, but one disaster at a time.
We're now in the middle of a tariff war with a bunch of countries that used to be our steadfast allies. I mean, how do you make an enemy of Canada? You know, they're right next to us, and they've been one of our premier allies and commerce partners for, I mean, seriously, like what, centuries now?
And he did say that he was going to put tariffs in place. Did you just not think that they would be implemented in this particular way?
I didn't think they were going to be put in play in a juvenile way.
I think you could have just stopped at, I didn't think.
I mean, where was the attempt to actually talk to the heads of these other countries like, hey, you know, I feel you have unfair tariffs against our products. I'd like to talk about it first. And if we can't work out some kind of resolution, then I feel to protect our people, we need to implement this kind of tariff. There was no attempt at even talking to the other countries.
When has he ever played nice with anyone ever? In his last presidency or outside of it, during his campaigns, when has he ever played nice? When has he ever been professional? Name one instance. I can't with these people. Y'all made your bed. Now you can lie in it.
I know you told...
Imagine what kind of asshole you have to be when you actively celebrate other people failing because of the policies being pushed by this fucking administration.
Imagine what kind of fragile, over-emotional little guy you have to be to come to the defense of another fragile, over-emotional little guy who is now in the fuck around and find out stage. Now, for context, everybody, this little guy is responding to my viral comment on this little guy's page.
Business owner that is directly being affected by the 104% tariff. I love this for you. I love this. Nice. I love this for you. I love to see you fail.
I find it sad that a man who voted for that orange dump truck more than once, a man with decades-long racism and bigotry, who purposely said he was going to put in place things that are going to harm not only marginalized communities, but everybody. He said this. He was very clear on his stance. But people like him, and apparently people like you, thought that it wouldn't affect you. And you're telling me you're defending a man who voted to harm other people, but now that it's affecting him personally, now he's crying and now he's asking for everybody's help? Get the fuck out of here. I stand by my comment. I love this for him, and I love this for you too.
Keep up the hard work, dumbass.
Oh, you can bet your ass I will.
Oh my God. You can see the pain in the faces of all these folks who are talking about how they were lied to, their expectations, and everything about all this. That being said, it is really crazy that it is at this point that people are getting to learn that they were lied to. They had a chance of making the right decision, but they didn't make the right decision. One, for only one reason. They thought that all these the decisions that they made is going to be benefiting them. But in turn, it has destroyed them. And we have some scholars who talk about this scenario, who talk about this American scenario. Mr. Donald Trump is not the one who is collapsing the country. The elites are using, the correct word is deliberately. The elites are deliberately using Mr. Donald Trump to collapse the United States. And they have been using presidents in the past. But this time, they saw to it that this is something that has to happen in large scale. Trade wars, tariff wars, high cost of living, taxations, all these things are affecting. What these things affecting? Majority of the people that they're affecting so much is white folks. Why is it white folks? Because the structures that were set to protect, to prevent, to secure white folks, this protectionist policy that was put in the United States, especially for white businesses, for white activities to thrive, made white people to have enormous wealth. In addition to that, long history with slavery, with how they took black wealth from black people. Some inherited this and they had this. So it means that when we try to look at this wealth disparity between black people and white people, we are going to find that white folks have a huge wealth as compared to black folks, especially. And in fact, statistics states that white folks, their wealth is 4 times, even 5 times more than black folks. So this means that when we have a society where we have a given group of people who is having huge amount of resources as compared to another group, so when all these things happen, you're going to see many faces, many white faces complaining about all these faces, about all this problem. Let's talk about white farmers, white groceries owners, white truckers, all these companies like Target, all these companies, really, you're getting to understand all these concepts. You're seeing them trying to complain or trying to make it about them. But at the end of the day, we also need to understand we have black folks who have been going through this, black folks who have been suffering, black folks who have seen it all. But at the end of the day, they'll make it as if it's theirs. Because one thing you need to understand is that the structure that was there, the structure that was already put there, it assumed that there is equality, which there ain't equality. The system was rigged against black folks, and everyone knows this. So when we see all these white folks ranting about the betrayal, about the lies that they were told, it is because they had an opportunity of creating enormous wealth at the absence of black people. And so when they have their wealth spread all over the United States, what does this mean? This means that any political, economical, any socio-economic political factor that is happening, it's going to affect them big time as compared to black folks. But I'm not trying to say that this doesn't affect black people. It also affects black people. But even if it affects black people, black folks are already used to this. This is something that they've been through for the longest time. So that being said, I'm seeing so much pain. I'm seeing so much agony in the voices of white folks, especially white MAGA. I'm seeing them trying to complain about the cost of living. I'm seeing them trying to complain about the living standard, about taxation, about how they can purchase seeds, how the prices of groceries, eggs are getting super, super high. By all this, when you told that you're the one who made the decision, you won't agree. Now, let's say things were reversed. Black folks voted for Mr. Donald Trump, right? Let's just say things were reversed. The story could have been the same, right? You could have heard how black folks could have been called names. But listen, black folks are quiet. Black folks are minding their business because they're not the ones who made this decision. It is white folks who decided to make the decision for themselves. So it's affecting them as a result of the decision that they decided to make. It's hard because somehow, as a commentator, you're left behind pity and at the same time logic. Because when you use logic in analyzing how these people are ranting and getting out and ranting about all these things, you'd say that they deserve it. But again, the human side of you will say that, oh man, these people are losing large track of money. They messed, they're human beings, people make mistakes. But at the end of the day, we all need to learn from our mistakes. But I'm not trying to support what white people did or what they try to do. This is all, they're reaping the benefits of what they decided to choose. They're living with it. That's how it's supposed to be, right? So that being said, I don't know what you think about this. I'm your host and presenter, Debunking Stories. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Honestly, I didn't have much to say about this, but I hope that this finds you right. And let me know what you think about this. I really want to know. This is something that we need to talk about. So let me know what you think and feel about this. I'm your host and presenter, Debunking Stories. But until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.